It's been 9 years. 9 years since Injustice 2 closed the book on the regime, and since then, we've watched the fighting game landscape shift beneath our feet. We've had games like Street Fighter 6, Tekken 8, 2XKO, and even the technical overhaul of Mortal Kombat 1. But with WB Games hopefully cooking up a game for 2027, the conversation isn't about who's in, it's about who matters. Injustice 3 cannot play it safe with the same 20 characters we've had since 2013. We need a roster that reflects the scale of the multiversal crisis. So this is just my wish list for characters that should be in Injustice 3. I'll talk about why I think they should be in the game and what potential moveset they could have. But before we get into that, if you don't know me by now, I'm MrFrostyFlamez, but you can call me Mike. I do anything gaming reviews, news, playthroughs, anything FGC related, and mostly just chill analysis videos with gameplay in the background. No over editing stuff. I just love to just speak, and you can put my stuff on in the background. So if you like that type of content and you just like these videos in general, comment down below what other topics I should do, and you should subscribe and join the MrFrostyFlamez Legion. We're 1,500 strong. We're going for 1,600. Help us get to 1,600. So subscribe and join the FrostyFlamez Legion. Now back to the video. So before I start listing characters for the video, I just want to do a short disclaimer. So with Netherrealm games, they sort of like to tailor their characters or their rosters to how the story is going. Obviously they go for like fan love and how much people want them in the game too, but I've noticed with some of the side characters or the jobbers, they like to tailor them for the stories. Like for instance, if you're a Mortal Kombat fan, obviously Mortal Kombat 11 had like Jackie Briggs and Cassie Cage and characters like that, and that's because obviously MKX had the story of Cassie Cage and Jackie Briggs in the combat kit, so it makes sense to follow through. If you're more into Injustice, you see like Lex Luthor died in Injustice 1, so that's why he isn't in Injustice 2, etc. But they're gonna go more into like a multiversal story, I believe, so that really opens up the door for anybody. And trust me, there are tons and tons and tons of DC characters that deserve a spot in Injustice, but a roster could only be so big before it gets oversaturated. I do, however, want a huge roster for Injustice 3. Usually Netherrealm games like to go for that 20 to 24 sweet spot, but knowing this is going to be what, 2027 or 2028 or hopefully earlier, right, when the game comes out, hopefully they have a decent sized roster, especially being a DC game. I say they could go for something like 30 or 32, and that's just my preference. So basically this is just my opinion, but if you have a different opinion or disagree with anything I say, make sure you just comment down below and list that character I forgot and let me know why, or maybe what moveset they should have. But anyways, let's go start listing some characters. So to start, there are obviously going to be some of these staple fighters or basic characters that are going to be in every Injustice game. They're extremely popular, so I doubt Netherrealm would ever exclude them. And those are characters like Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Green Lantern, The Flash, etc. Those are characters that obviously, you know, the fans love and Netherrealm loves, and they're sort of like staple fighters, sort of like the Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Raiden, Liu Kang of the Injustice franchise. But before we talk about the actual new blood, we have to talk about characters that I would like to see return. Since we're looking at a huge roster for this game, or at least in my opinion, I want to talk about characters from previous games that are unusual picks for returning. And to start off, I want to say Raven. I feel like she was one of the biggest omissions in Injustice 2. In 2026, her Trigon infused stance change gameplay would be a technical powerhouse. We need her back with a moveset that actually utilizes her astral projection for long-range mix-ups. Another one that I want to see come back is Deathstroke. Deadshot was a placeholder. I feel like Slade Wilson is the soul of DC's tactical combat. We need that version of Deathstroke that utilizes the Nith metal armor for passive damage reduction, making him like the ultimate anti-zoner. And another one, which is, I'm surprised that she hasn't even been in the story yet, even like a side character, and that's Zatanna. I feel like she was my favorite character as a DLC, but I feel like she was, like I said, robbed of a story role. In the Crisis meta, her reverse speech trait could literally scramble your opponent's inputs. That is the kind of high-level technical input that separates Injustice from MK. The character potential in these games could be massive, and those are basically the only standout returning characters that I'd like, because I want to see a roster of full new characters, because this is going to be a multiversal threat, so we got to bring in multiversal characters. So let's talk about the new blood. So the first character that I want to see back is actually John Constantine. I feel like he's a #1 requested character because I see him and another character that I'm going to talk about being requested a lot. But for Constantine, I feel like he could be sort of like a gambler archetype, sacrificing his own health to summon like demonic stuff. Like imagine if you could take a chunk of his health and he could summon like a demon to help him in battle. He could sort of be like the Quan Chi, where he could summon these demons that give him portals and stuff. He's just like a mage, and it would be cool, especially if Zatanna is going to be in the game. Their synergy would be unmatched. The next one that I want to see is actually Etrigan the Demon. He could be like a heavy hitter character, you know, with fire based armor and moves with his like long sword. And you know how he talks in rhymes? Imagine if he could like his voice lines and everything. He could be like a mini comic relief. He could have like a rhyme meter that boosts damage for successful combos. Something that I liked about MK1 is some characters sort of had like passive abilities, if you didn't notice. Like Johnny Cage had that star power meteor, and Garrus had that thing where you could summon like a clock and then you could stack them and then rewind time, etc., you know, things like that. Imagine if they gave all those characters like their I know they have their character power, and they gave like every character passive, something to make Injustice unique. They could give Etrigan the Demon some like rhyme meter or something funny to go with his character. I feel like he'll be cool. Another one that I want to see is actually Spectre 2. He's like the ultimate zoner. He punishes spamming by dealing automatic divine retribution damage if the opponent uses like the same move 3 times or something. I don't know, I'm just saying random stuff. But Spectre, I don't know much about him, but I know he's a really cool character that should be in the game. Another character that should be in the game, I believe, is Deadman, and Dick Grayson version of Deadman. Since Nightwing is dead, you could easily bring him back as Deadman, and he could be like a puppeteer who, say they bring back cameos hypothetically, or make them like sidekicks or something. He could be like a puppeteer who could possess the opponent's cameo, but if not, he could just be like another magical character, burn the opponent's meter, etc., etc. Another one that I want to see is, and another requested character a lot, is Static. He could utilize, you know, his board and do a lot of movement stuff. He could be like the rushdown character that we need in the game. And I'm pretty sure Netherrealm would find something very cool to do with his character power. Like imagine if he could like hover like around and do like 360-degree aerial mobility or something like that. It would be crazy. And another highly requested character is Plastic Man, and he would be like the first true like stretchy character with pokes that cover about like 80% of the screen, sort of like Martian Manhunter or something, right, in Injustice 1. It would be cool, and I'm surprised that they haven't done any true stretchy character, not even like MK with like a unique character. But he would be cool. Like I said, it will be hard to predict their movesets, but I could get an idea in my head if I like imagine or think hard enough about it. But you could get like an idea of what playstyle they could have. Like another one that should be, because you know, in collaboration of the DC films and stuff, is Mr. Terrific. He could use like his T-spheres as independent AI drones for remote detonating and projectile shielding or something like that. Like if he throws them out, and he could be like a Demolition Sonya from MKX if you played that game. And remember when I said that there was another character that was highly requested alongside John Constantine, and that's actually Beast Boy. I wanted him since I found out Injustice 1 was coming out. I thought Beast Boy was going to be in it because I love him. He's technically, I feel like, the most demanding character, but imagine if he has like his animal forms. He could like turn into like a cheetah, a rhino, like an eagle, or like a gorilla or something, like, and each with their own frame data. He could be like a stance character like that, or switching, you know, stances. You know, imagine the creativity they could do. It would be crazy. And another cool pick would be Stargirl. She could be like the staff fighter archetype in the game with like a very complex, like, you know, mid-screen, you know, poke range, sort of like, you know, I don't want to see Aquaman in the game, but she could be replaced by Stargirl, and she could, you know, use her star staff that she has, and it would be cool to see. Another one that I want to see is Booster Gold. He's like a time traveler, and imagine if he could be like the Garrus in the game. That would annoy a lot of people, like where you could like rewind time, or like, you know, he's like a comic relief character, so we need comic like funny guys, right? Imagine if like he dies or something, and you remember how like I forgot the variation name, Unstoppable, I think, Jason Voorhees in MKX, where he could actually get up after he dies. Imagine if he dies and then all of a sudden he just like comes on the side of the screen. He's like, oh, what happened? And then he gets a little bit of his health back, and the game continues. Like if he activates something special in the match or something, it would be cool. And Booster Gold is another highly requested character that is really cool. He's like a tech guy, and there's always gonna be like a Lantern character that isn't Green Lantern to like satisfy those Lantern fans and give Green Lantern his side story villain. They had Sinestro in the first game. they had Atrocitus in the second game, and I feel like in this third game they should do something unique, do a character that is lesser known, and that's actually Larfreeze in my opinion. He is, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, one of the only, there are other timelines, but there is only one Orange Lantern, and that is Larfreeze. But I'm pretty sure in the comics there are times where other characters wielded the orange ring, but as of right now I think it's Larfreeze that's the only one. I feel like he could be like a greed specialist that steals his opponent's super meter or steals their power or does something that goes along with what he does as a character. Another one that I want to see is this grappler archetype, or like the tank archetype. In the first game it was what, like Doomsday and Bane, and second game it was Bane, Swamp Thing, but I want to see it be actually King Shark. He could be cool. He could have like moves where he could chomp on his enemies and pull out like guns and stuff. He could be like another comic relief character. I know I'm adding a lot of those in the game, but I feel like these are just characters that are highly requested that just haven't got a chance to properly shine in Injustice, and this is a good chance with the new game, especially if they have a big roster too. So that's gonna be it for my main roster of new guys that I want to see added in Injustice 3. There are obviously gonna be some jobbers that are gonna be in the game, and I think they should be like Red Tornado, Katana, Clayface, Metamorpho, Black Lightning, and some hero jobbers too, because you always need those good guys that the bad guys could beat up to look powerful, you know what I mean, right? Think WWE, that's how it is in WWE. And for guest characters, I would love to see characters like He-Man or even the Power Rangers. Imagine if the Power Rangers were in it and you could switch like the color, like how you could switch the Ninja Turtles in Injustice 2, or you could bring back Spawn. I know a lot of people love Spawn, and I want to see how he goes in an Injustice game. And for Mortal Kombat representation, they'll probably do either, I could see either Katana, Johnny Cage, or Fire God Liu Kang, because they already did Raiden, Scorpion, Sub-Zero. I say they could do Fire God Liu Kang or Johnny Cage. They're my preferred picks, and those were for guest characters. But anyways, this is just my take on Injustice 3's roster. Let me know down below if you want to see me do like a full extensive long, like 40 minutes to an hour video breaking down why I picked each character, sort of like what I did with the MK13 video. But anyways, that's just my take. Let me know what you guys think down below. What character did I miss? And longer. Anyways, sorry guys. If I sound a little weird, it's because I'm sick. But if you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, you know what I mean, right? And join the MrFrostyFlamez Legion. Anyways, thank y'all for watching. MrFrostyFlamez out. Ciao.